Hello everyone! So hopefully since the last tutorial video, you will have downloaded, installed and started using Express Scribe for your transcription projects. And I hope that it's been a user-friendly and pleasant experience for you so far. So two of my friends and colleagues asked me about the program controls, particularly about the fast forward and rewind controls. And they said that they were not really satisfied with how these controls were moving the audio, moving forward and backward in the audio, and that they found it difficult to navigate to the exact point in the audio where they wanted to be with these commands. In particular, they didn't like that they had to hold in the button because then it would take them too far forward in the text or in the audio or too far back in the audio file. So they would rather prefer, as my understanding has it, they would rather prefer to move forward or backwards in the audio in increments. Well, the great thing about Express Scribe is that it's customizable, which means that you can tailor it to optimize your user experience, which can speed up your production time even more. Therefore, in this tutorial, I will show you where to find the fast forward and rewind command settings, which will hopefully give you an understanding of why these commands behave the way they do and how to change its settings. I will also show you how to reassign other shortcuts for the commands and how, if you prefer, to reassign the fast forward and the rewind commands to a step function where you can move forward and backwards in the audio in 5-second increments with the single push of the shortcut instead of using regular fast forward and rewind. So first let's have a look at where to find the fast forward and the rewind function and its settings and investigate how it works. So we want to go to the Options tab and we want to click on Playback. And then here at the bottom you'll see it says Rewind and Fast Forward. So the default settings of this command shows us that it moves forward and backwards in the audio file in increments of 500 milliseconds. But not only that it moves in either direction at an increasing speed and also at 150 times the speed of the regular playback function of the audio. And if you look at it now, you might understand a little better why these commands behave the way they do when you use the shortcuts. So we are going to change this to something that might be a little more comfortable for our users or our use purposes. So let's try changing the mode to a constant speed instead of an increasing speed, and let's make the increment a little bigger. Let's make it a step of 1000 milliseconds, and then we also want to change the speed to 100% playback speed, so the regular speed of the audio, and then I'm going to click on OK and it will remember these settings. Now let's see what happens when I play a piece of audio and I decide to rewind or fast forward in the audio. Note here what happens to the time there by the time indicator, and hopefully it will, like I said, make your experience a little more comfortable. So let's push F9 to play.
Good morning. I've seen you've greeted everyone and you're quite friendly. So nice on a Tuesday because there are more students in class. On Friday there aren't much people. Students in class. On Friday there are so nice on a Tuesday because there are more students in class. On Friday.
Okay, so that was the rewind function, and hopefully you saw that it was moving in more definable increments, and I did that by repeatedly pushing the button once, not holding it in. Okay, so that was the first part, and hopefully this will help you. And now I'm going to show you how to reassign other keys. So let's say you are not really comfortable with using F9 to play your audio. You can reassign that function or command to a different shortcut. Just make sure that when you reassign new shortcuts that you don't assign it to something that is already occupied by another function that is frequently used. For example, you don't want to assign the play or pause function to your spacebar because you use your spacebar to insert spaces between your text when you type in your word processor. So for us to change those settings, we go to Options, and then we go to System-wide Hotkeys, which is what is often used to refer to a shortcut. And there you'll see a list of all of those shortcuts for the commands that we discussed in the last tutorial video. And so you will notice also that the play with pausing function or command is not here, even though the menu, if I can just go back to the menu, even though the control menu shows us that play with pausing is reserved for the F12 button. However, you might have noticed that if you push F12 in your word processor, that it is already designated to open the Save As window, which is almost hardwired into this program, so you can't overwrite another function for F12. So that means we are going to have to reassign a different shortcut for the play with pausing command if you like to use that command. So let's go back to Options and to System-wise Hotkeys, and we'll see that. So like I said, you pick a shortcut that isn't already occupied by something that's regularly used. If your keyboard has a number pad on the side and at the top, then you might use the numbers at the top to assign new shortcuts for. In my case, I see that F2 hasn't been assigned to anything here. So I will say add a key assignment, and then I need to pick the function which I would like to assign the shortcut to. So I want to go, I'm looking for play with pausing command. And if you don't want to read through the whole list of commands to find the one that you're looking for, then you can just push the letter on your keyboard that the command starts with. In my case, play with pausing, and then it will skip there automatically in the list. Okay, so I'm going to select play with pausing. The next thing I'm going to do is assign it a key. So I'll click up here on change, and then you just push whatever key you want to assign it to. In my case, I want to assign it to F2. So I push F2, and if I click on OK, you'll notice it appeared there in my command list. And the other thing that I wanted to show you is, if you still don't like the way the rewind and the fast forward buttons work, or the shortcuts or commands work, then it has another function that allows you to move forward or backwards in the audio in 5-second increments or intervals. But in order to do this, if you want to assign these functions to F7 and F8 in the place of rewind and fast forward, that means we first have to delete these functions, otherwise it will not open up these shortcuts for us to assign to something else. So I'm going to click on F7, which is rewind, and I'm going to delete it. And you'll see it disappears off the command list. And then I'm going to delete that one as well, the fast forward button, because we no longer want to use it, but something else instead. So I'll delete that. Yes, I want to delete it. There we go. And now we're going to add those other functions that I told you about. So we click on add, and in our menu here, what you're looking for is the step back and step forward functions. And there you'll see it shows you, it moves forward and backwards in the audio in 5-second increments. So let's click on the step back one first, since that will replace our rewind function. So we want to use F7 for it. So I'll click on change to assign the key, and I'll push F7. Click OK, and there you'll see it appears on your command list as F7. We'll do the same for step forward. So I'll go to add, click on step forward 5 seconds, assign it a key. In this case we want F8, push OK, and there it appears on your command list as well. So you can do this for any other of the functions if you don't like the keys or the shortcuts that they are currently assigned to. And I'm going to push OK, and it will save your settings. Now I'm going to play the audio again, and then note at the time over there, note what it does when I push these the new fast forward and rewind button.
In class on Friday, there aren't many more students. Friendly.
That was rewind. Let's forward.
On Friday, I'm seeing a few. Look at the portfolio assignment. I suggested it.
Alright, so there you'll have noticed that it skipped forward and backwards in 5-second increments at the single push of a button. I really hope that these settings improve your experience of Express Scribe, and I really hope that you have a productive transcription experience. And if you have any other questions, please feel free to ask me anytime. Have a great day. Bye.